Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to this week's episode of Villain of the Week. If you're new here, in this series, myself and another content creator, we discuss a villain that one or both of us picked, and we discuss, what we like about them or what we don't like about them, and some of their cards as well. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in. And with me this week, as always, is the one, the only, the Watson to my Sherlock Holmes. It's Solo Marvel Champion. Mr. Champion, how are you doing today?
I am fantastic. How are you today?
I have no complaints, I suppose. Maybe I stayed up a little too late and then got up too early. But, you only live once, and it was for good reasons. I was up late last night recording a podcast with another group of guys, and I think I discussed this last time. But then I woke up early today to do another podcast, which is, our podcast, our weekly one. So it's, not too bad. I only slept for like 5 hours, though.
Ooh, 5 hours is nice. I never get 5 hours of sleep.
That's like my bare, I would say my bare minimum. Like I could function, but I definitely do enjoy sleeping, so I like to get my rest in.
Now, don't get me wrong, I love to sleep. I just don't very often.
No, I get it. No, yeah, because, you got all those, all the games of Marvel Champions, of course, but outside of Marvel Champions, I know you have all that work and your overtime and stuff now. You're heading into your busy season, so we're trying to get these, videos recorded before that, so we can, have some banked. No, I get it. Well, hopefully today we can provide a little bit of distraction from real life stuff as we talk about today's villain. And today's villain, as I'm sure everybody could tell from the title, because I'm sure it'll be there, but the villain this week is one that I picked, and I actually picked Drang from Galaxy's Most Wanted, and it's for a few reasons. One of the big reasons I picked him was he's actually the first villain that I played against and recorded and made a video of and put it, on my channel. But I also found him pretty fun and thematic, so that's kind of why I picked him. But just as a general sense, how do you feel about Drang?
I like Drang. There are things about him I certainly don't like, and we'll talk about them as we get into the episode, but overall, he's okay. He's fine for what he does.
Right? No, I get it, right? It's more sentimental and stuff, for me, but no, I totally get it. But before we dive in, I'm curious, everybody else there is curious, and there's, something I would definitely want to bring up, but how has your Marvel Champions week been? You've been playing any games of Marvel Champions? Maybe doing some videos or whatnot?
Playing a lot of games, making a lot of videos. I'm already at this point putting videos out for May, and we're recording this on March 27th. So yeah, I've been busy. Got to make the videos when I can. And I've said before, I don't know if I've said it here or on Discord when I'm talking to some of my guys there, but if I have time that I could be making a video, I feel bad if I'm not making a video in that time. So yep, anytime I have available, I'm using it to further the channel as much as I can.
So, Drang, I actually was playing through the Galaxy's Most Wanted campaign. The campaign and stuff. But I really only got to Drang. I was only the first villain. I never actually went further than that. Because I heard some horror stories about Collector and Collector 2. And people are like, Drang is so hard and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, well. But I did hear that the market type thing in Galaxy's Most Wanted is really, really fun. So it's really cool with the cards and stuff. So I really should give it more of a chance. But as far as Drang goes, he's just this cool space, warlord guy. I imagine he comes down to Earth. He's got his fleet, and then you as a hero fly up into Milano, and you're there to meet him, and you have to battle against him and stuff in space. Super cool. I like Drang thematically and stuff. I will say, I do feel like he's a little easy. I definitely don't feel like there's too much of a challenge with him.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's
I was
very
just gonna
easy.
ask, yeah, like how do you feel, about Drang?
I played a 2-player game against him the other day with one of the guys we met at MCDC, and I mean it was over before we even realized it. And the guy on the other end actually said, "Wow, that was really quick. You got time for another game." So yeah, we just crushed him super quickly. He has some things that are a little bit annoying, but difficult is not something I would call him. There is a little bit of difficulty depending on what comes out of the encounter deck, but it's not something that can't be overcome.
I agree. Yeah, I think that at base value, like he's very easy, and what makes it even easier is also that you do start with the Milano, which is like a free resource and stuff. Yep. So you can get like a really good start against this guy who only has like 13 hit points to start. Yeah, and he doesn't get steady really. I mean, he does get stalwart with his weapon attachment, and you do have to find that in stage 2. But like in expert mode, he doesn't grab it. It looks like it's just in stage 2. So if you get rid of it, he can still be stunned or confused and stuff, which that's a thing. But he does have low hit points. Like, what is it, like 13, 14, 18? Like,
yep, exactly.
There's not really a lot going on there.
And the only difficulty we had against him, and also one of the reasons it was so fast, is because I was playing a Captain Marvel deck that confuses the villain. It was all about confuse so that, Chamber can deal extra damage and not take a consequential. Cypher attacks a confused villain and draws a card, etc. So we had him confused. We were doing lots of damage to him. Then we got him to stage 2, and he gets his spear and his stalwart. So that confuse popped right off. And then we ended up, like, on that turn beating him anyway, despite the fact that he was stalwart. That is one of the things that can wreck your plans if you're planning to do any kind of status lock.
Oh yeah, I think the low hit points combined with the fact that he also, like, he can't be starter confused kind of makes him a little easier. I was looking at it, and the spear, like, yeah, if you're trying to do like a stun lock or confuse lock or something, the spear is actually a little bit annoying to remove because the resources are kind of not out there, but it's like you need a mental and then like 2 physical.
Yeah, it's wonky. It is what I would call it.
Yes, exactly. It's like, why not one of each? Or why not?
Why not one of each? Or why not just mental physical?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Why one additional? It's like, oh well, this is weird, But it's
you got to think about it and punch him really hard to get rid of that spear.
You're like, you have to disarm him and then punch him, or yeah, exactly. But I mean, once the spear's gone, it's gone.
That's super thematic, I think. When you look at those cards that say do this thing to get rid of this, I always like to think about why those resources. And I used to just think, okay, one of each, that's just a bad tax you have to pay. But it makes sense, right? You have to plan and consider how you want to do it. That's the mental. And then you have to punch him really hard to get rid of it. That is the 2 physicals. And if you look at all of those like that, they kind of make sense. The only ones I don't like are where you also have to exhaust your hero. Those suck a lot. I don't see the theming there. But unless it is, you really have to try hard, and that is why you have to exhaust too. The resources on these cards, if you look at them as thematic, I think they're a lot more fun than just, okay, spend mental, physical, discard this. Think about why it's mental, physical, and I think that's a fun time.
I bet FFG put some thought into, stuff like that when, designing these sort of like hero action, like removal. Yeah, if you think of it thematically, I totally get it. Yeah, that totally makes sense. As a whole, like outside of say hit points or he can be stunned or confused, so what he does, like what Drang does, isn't actually crazy either. Like his main gimmick is that you have this little environment set off to the side, and it's kind of like his ship. So at the start, well, actually, it's he does put it on. Yeah, so the premise is he charges up his ship. He also charges up his ship when he schemes. So it's possible you can get 2 counters on it in one turn if you're an alter ego. But typically, once you put these counters on this little environment, this little ship, and then once it gets to 4 counters, you remove it, and then everybody takes 2 indirect damage, which is fine.
Which is nothing. It's not terrible at all.
Yeah, that's not bad. It doesn't even like really go up, I don't think. Yeah, it doesn't change. It's just 2 damage, even in like expert mode. And it's like, okay, this is fine, I guess. I mean, you can use a tough to eat it, or you could just take 2 damage. Like, that's fine. You know, it's not like 3. I know it's weird, but 3 damage can make all the difference. Who knows? But it's really not that bad. Like, you can play, typically most games, it might fire off once. And then at that point, you're probably going to win. And sometimes you might just burn them down and not even have to have it fire off. So it's just kind of like, okay, I guess, you know, it's cool thematically where he's like doing a bombardment. But once you see it's like only 2 damage, you're like, well, this wasn't really that bad. Maybe I sought shelter or something.
Yeah, the 2 indirect is really nothing. There is a minion in his kit called Badoon Engineer. After it engages you or activates against you, you resolve charge up. So that could add extra counters to that and speed up the charge so that it's going to blast you more frequently. But even then, it's not terrible. So I think there's only 2 copies of him too. So not really bad. I think the worst part about him are the main schemes. 2 per player, and they go up 2 per player every time.
Yep.
If you lose the first main, and it only has a threshold of 8 per. So that could pop really quickly. And when you get to the second main, it starts with 4 per player and goes up 2 per. So even if you're playing a 2, 3, 4 player game, it starts with a lot of threat and doesn't have a very big threshold. I don't think I've ever been knocked out by Drang, but I've definitely lost to threat because there just isn't a lot of space to deal with on these 2 mains.
Yep, that's something I was considering too, like to bring up or whatever. Yeah, this like 2 per player. I mean, Rodin does that as well, and his like main scheme's I think a little lower at like 7, I think. But yeah, like 2 per, that's a lot. Now to slightly ease it, you can use the Milano. And you can exhaust the Milano and remove 3 threat, which is kind of nice, but at the same time, then you don't get access to the Milano.
Right.
But Drang's difficulty, again, isn't super high, so you probably don't even really need the Milano. You're probably going to be fine. It's not like, say, Rodin, where it's useful.
Here's the thing, though. The Milano doesn't really exist because all of the cards in the Milano set say, when this comes out, exhaust the Milano, or this bad thing happens. So a lot of the time, when it comes back to you, the first player doesn't even have access to the Milano because it had to be exhausted to prevent something bad during the encounter phase.
That's so true.
Some people call that the Milano tax. When you can use it, it's good. Yeah, that'll remove 3 from that. And all of the side schemes have that as well. First player action, exhaust Milano, remove 3 from this scheme. And that is really nice, but they all come in with more than 3 threat on them. Now, bombardment is a side scheme that only has 3 per player. In solo, that's only 3. In a 2-player game, though, that's 6. So removing 3 from it isn't that great.
Yeah.
Mata is 1 with 3 per player hinder. That might come in with 7, and yeah, you can remove 3, but that still leaves 4, and it has a hazard icon. So while the Milano is good, if you get to use it, and you're not always going to be able to use it for that, you still have more threat to deal with. So I don't know. While I do like the inclusion of Milano here, it's not really as effective as you'd like it to be.
Right? And I kind of like that, where it's like, hey, you can start with a free resource generator. It gives you a wild resource, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, right? But it's like, oh, hey, by the way, probably not gonna be able to use it, right? But it's like you're up in space, and the Milano has to, like, you're flying around, so you can't really use it. Maybe you're dodging laser blasts or missiles or something, you know, just trying to avoid all this damage. So is it nice if you can use the Milano? It sure is. Are you gonna be able to use the Milano? Most often, probably not, you know? Probably not.
Always.
But it is nice when you do.
It is nice when you do. But yeah, so many times I'm like, okay, when it comes back to me, I'm going to use Milano to do this. But then you get the encounter card that says he attacks you unless you exhaust the Milano. I'm like, well, I'm sitting at 2 hit points, so I guess I'm going to exhaust the Milano.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, some of those, the counters come out, and it's like, it's just easier to exhaust the Milano than deal with anything else. Unless there has been some turns where I'm like, okay, I really need the Milano, I really need its resource. I would rather do this other bad thing than exhaust the Milano. Or I think Web Warrior Fanatic does this sometimes too, especially against Ronin, where you're like, okay, if there's a bad card, a worse card, I want to exhaust Milano for that instead of whatever this one is. So
yeah.
That's something to consider too, but against Drang, you're probably fine.
Yeah, that's true. And there are some of those, say exhaust this or spin 2 physical or do this other thing. If I have those 2 physical, I would love to do that because I'm still going to be able to use Milano on my turn. And even when I have access to Milano, usually I am using it to remove threat from the main or one of these stupid side schemes that come out.
Oh, yeah. But I do like that Milano can remove threat from the main if you're able to use it, because it means you can run kind of whatever. I'm not saying you don't have to worry about the main threat on the, or the threat on the main scheme, but you can kind of have your deck do more aggressive stuff while still being able to just turn the Milano sideways every turn to remove some threat. So I think that's kind of neat.
It's neat. I think he's one that I actually haven't tried to rush down, but he would definitely be one you could rush down because of those low hit points and then just not even worry about the threat. So that does give me some ideas. Maybe I play Star-Lord, maybe I play my Storm Aggression deck, but yeah, definitely one that if you don't want to worry about threat, you can probably just rush him down.
Well, again, sometimes I like to have some information outside of Marvel Champions about the villain or whatever. Don't have a lot, if anything, today. So we're going to let editing Steggy add some stuff right here. And if he doesn't, again, that's going to be a really awkward pause. So I think we can, because we are discussing some stuff. Do you perhaps, have a favorite card or a card you really like or a card you don't like in his kit or maybe not in his kit?
I do have one card. It's not in his kit. It's in the Band of Badoon modular set. It has a lot of different minions in it. In fact, it's all minions. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 10 minions in it. And most of them aren't bad. But one of them that I really dislike is the Badoon Grunt. It's a 2/2 minion with 2 hit points, but forced response. After he engages you, if there are no other minions engaged with you, deal yourself a face down encounter card. So that stinks, especially because he has a boost card which says or a boost effect which says put him into play engaged with you. So if he comes down as a boost and you have no other minions, you're getting an extra encounter card during the phase. I don't like that, but then even if he is an encounter card, you deal a face down encounter card and you still have to deal with that one this phase too. So I don't like the extra encounter cards. Now, some of those might be the ones that say Drang attacks you unless you use the Milano, whatever, but I just don't like that one. I don't like getting extra encounter cards. This is basically Surge, although it won't always happen, and I'm just not a fan of Surge. I think Surge is the worst way to add difficulty.
Those are fantastic points, yeah. I have definitely overlooked the fact that Badoon Grunt will give you an encounter card. Actually, I think in my game, my very first game, Rocket, it was Rocket versus Drang, and I got the Badoon Grunt by himself, and I just didn't give myself an encounter card because...
Yeah, I've done that too.
I just
it's one of those things after the game, you look at that and go, oh, shoot, I should have gotten an extra encounter card.
I also, for a super long time, I didn't realize that... So I used to run... Well, I still kind of do, but I do Face to Past with Rocket, and I didn't realize that... I would bring out his nemesis, which is Flapjack or whatever, and he has Quick Strike. And I'm like, okay, I'll take 1 damage for 3 cards. That's fine. I didn't realize that he has Villainous, So when he quick strikes you, he's attacking you, so he gets the boost. And I didn't realize that for like ever. So that's just something to think about. But
everybody makes mistakes.
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
makes mistakes, and that's totally fine.
I actually just learned, like, for Surge, because you just mentioned it. So I thought Surge was like, oh, you get an encounter card and you just add it. Like, if you have another encounter card, you just put that one off to the side or whatever and reveal, like, your order. But I guess Surge is like, if you get a Surge card, you got to reveal that card right away. Like, that is like your next
it's
card.
like the next in line. After you resolve this one, you resolve that one. Now, I mess that up all the time. I'm sure I just put it on the stack and, do it at the end. There are times when that's going to matter.
Yep.
But I don't pay that much attention to that, so I know I do that wrong quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. Like, I think most of the time it doesn't matter. I think I had one game where I was playing MODOK, and I surged, and the order, I did it out of order where he's like, he had a card where he stole my Avengers Mansion, my highest like supporter upgrade, so he got like +4/+4, and then the next card was him like attacking, but because I did it out of order, he should have attacked me first and then stolen
it. Yeah.
So, but I mean, it was still MODOK. It was okay, but it was still like that order did matter in that regard. But
yeah, the order does matter, but I know for a fact that I get that wrong all the time. Before we move on, are you looking at Badoon Grunt right now?
I sure am.
Look at his eyes, man. He's like, what have I gotten myself into?
That's what I think too. Like, he's being like berated or whatever. Like, yeah, I have to go down there. Like, do you see what they do down there?
I think that's hilarious, and I only notice that because I usually don't even look at the art on cards. I just look at the name and look at the effects. But when I was picking my card for this video, I went, oh man, that is so hilarious. The look on his face is like, I do not want to go down there.
It's so true. Yeah, it's really funny. I'll try to put it like on the screen. But yeah, he is super... I love the face on this guy. It's super funny.
Fun times. But yeah, that's my card. I just don't like seeing it because it's basically Surge, and I just don't like Surge. What about you? Do you have a card or cards that you're not a fan of?
So I'm going to pull a Mr. Champion, and I actually don't like, and I'm pretty sure I've lost the game to him, and it is from the Badoon, Band of Badoon, it's the Assassin, where you could be low hit points because like you defended, you took damage, whatever. And I'm pretty sure one of my first games with Rocket, because I'm Rocket, I only have like 9 hit points, but then you get, this guy comes down as an encounter card, you flip him over, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting hit for 3 damage, all of a sudden there's nothing I can do about it. They're like, oh man, like, I just lost. It's basically Quick Strike, but yeah, this guy, I'm like, oh, he sucks,
Yeah, a Quick Strike of 3. He only has 1 hit point, so if that doesn't knock you out, he's easy to get rid of, but yeah, it really sucks to think you're going to get out clean, and then this guy comes in and hits you for 3.
There's one of the cards in the Milano mod set too I don't really like, and it's I think it's Special Delivery, and it just shows like, again, I don't like the cards where the villain will scheme or attack you no matter what, is like something's going to happen, and that's what this one does. So you may exhaust the Milano, it's a treachery, so you have to exhaust it, and if you don't, then the villain will either scheme with +1 in Alter Ego, or he's going to attack you with +1 and Hero Form. And what sucks is, like you had mentioned earlier, the Milano is often exhausted because you're using it for like everything. So this is going to come out and it's like, well, great. Now they're going to get +1 for whatever they're doing, and that could suck. That could definitely hurt.
Yeah, and to the point you were making with Web Warrior, maybe he gets like Power Siphon, and one of the choices is Exhaust Milano. He's like, no, I'm going to discard a card at random instead for this one in case something worse comes out. And then Special Delivery comes out, and that is worse. So yeah, save your Milano for the worst one that could happen. And I think that is a good kind of rule of thumb. Even if I had to spend 2 energy on Power Siphon, I would rather do that than be attacked at +1. So I like that strategy of, just wait until the last card you have. You may never end up exhausting the Milano, and you're going to be glad you didn't if special delivery comes up. So
Very
I also
true.
like, we don't talk about it much in this game. It really affects Arkham Horror more, I think, than Marvel Champions. But there are 3 treacheries, Blindside, Hull Breach, and Power Siphon, that have peril on them. While you're resolving this card, other players cannot help you. And that extends to, they can't help you with advice. Choose one, exhaust the Milano. Well, if you're not the first player, you don't even have access to the Milano, so you can't choose that option. Second option,
true.
spend physical. Well, in any case, you would have to do that yourself, but you can't even tell the other players what you've got, right? And then the other option is stun the first player. Well, if you don't have the Milano, you're not the first player, so one of your options is to stun another player. So I do like that peril is on these cards. It makes for some interesting decisions, but we just don't see enough peril in this game to really make it a thing. I wish we had more cards with peril, and I say that even though I don't play a whole lot of multiplayer games. I think peril would be a really fun way to deal with some of these treacheries. It doesn't necessarily make them more difficult, it just makes them give you a different choice. Like, maybe you do have the Milano because you're the first player. Go ahead and exhaust that. But then the next card you get is Special Treachery. The other guy gets the Milano, or gets the Special Delivery, whatever. So I like Peril. I just wish it was used more in this game than we see.
I 100% agree. I think it's a really cool, little keyword that can pop up in a card, and you're like, okay, I know it's a team game, but every so often, it's like, hey, you have to deal with this by yourself. What are you gonna do? And as I'm looking at these cards, I was just thinking, there's 2 of them where it's Power Siphon and Blindside. Technically, there's a chance that none of this will happen. If you... if the first player is already stunned, it's not going to matter for Blindside. You might not have 2 physical resources, and the Milano can already be exhausted. So then it doesn't do anything? You know what I mean?
It doesn't do anything, except that second option. You would have to do as much of it as you could. So maybe you don't have 2 physicals, but you do have 1. You would have to spend 1 of those physicals.
That's fair.
At
Yep.
least. But if you had no physicals, yeah, this wouldn't do anything. And it doesn't surge, so that could be a free card, depending on the circumstances.
I like that. Every so often, I like getting a free card, but I think they do a good job of trying not to do that, where it's heal the villain by 2. You're like, okay, but it's but if the villain's already full health, this card gains surge.
Surge,
okay, right? Or it's gonna do
I
something
do like
else.
that. That is the case. That is the only case where I think Surge is valid. Do a thing, but if you can't, you get a new encounter card. I am totally fine with Surge in those cases.
Yep.
But the cases where the villain attacks you, Surge. No, the villain has already attacked me. Why does he get another card on top of that?
Yeah, and then that surges into something else,
That surges into another attack. He attacked me, and now he's attacking me again. Yeah, I'm fine with a surge that happens if the rest of the card couldn't happen. But do a thing bad and then surge, I hate that. That is the worst design, in my opinion.
It just kicks you when you're down,
Yep.
It's just...
now, to be fair, on the player's phase, they can do a whole lot of stuff.
True.
Right? We can just keep attacking and readying our allies and attack and attack and attack and play attack events and thwart the main, etc. We might do 20 things during our turns in a multiplayer game. And then the villain just gets to attack each of us once. So sometimes it makes sense to surge because they are getting to do as many things as we're doing. But on the other hand, the cards that come out of the encounter deck are usually more impactful than the cards we're getting to play.
True.
Sometimes, yeah, a stun and 4 damage, that's pretty impactful. But, the villain attacks you at +1 attack, that can be even more impactful. So, I don't know. I just don't like Surge, man. I know I've talked about it before, but I just do not like Surge.
No, I get it. You bring up some really good points, and looks like outside of mod sets, Drang doesn't really have any Surge cards, which is kind of nice.
It's only in some of these mod sets, and in that Badoon set, Band of Badoon, that's not really a Surge and might not even Surge, the Badoon Grunt, but it basically is a Surge while also giving you a minion. So, yeah, Badoon Warlord just gives the villain overkill, which is not fun. I don't mind Drang. Yeah, there's not a lot of Surge going on there. But when it does happen, and if you're playing Expert, that's definitely a possibility. I really don't understand why people thought and were saying that Drang was super difficult. I think the only difficulty in him is the threshold on the mains, but I don't know. Not difficult at all, in my opinion.
I can't really say I've ever had like too much of a problem against him. I'm like, oh, it's Drang, like just kind of casual, like just beating them up and stuff. I fought him a lot with Rocket, and I was like, okay, this guy is it's Drang,
He's not as straightforward as Rhino, but he's fairly straightforward. So he's one that I will play if I just want a quick game that I don't have to think too much about.
Oh yeah, especially on that note, I was just quickly counting his encounter cards. When you get everything set up, like by himself, without his extra cards from like a mod set, he only has 7 cards. There's only 7 cards in his like actual encounter deck, not counting anything you're going to add into the deck. So
yep,
that's pretty small, actually.
That's a small deck, and that's why one of the mod sets he comes with has 10 minions in it.
Oh yeah, you're gonna fight some minions, but as a Rocket fan, I'm like, this is fine, right? I really enjoy that.
Yeah, no, any minion slayer is gonna like that, and yeah, he just doesn't have a very thick deck at all, which means you might get to your accelerations quicker, which are going to be even worse with that low threat threshold and accelerated growth because it's 2 per player every turn. So. Yep. Can be rough that way. Threat, I think, is the only thing that makes him difficult. That low HP count, like we've talked about, means you can rush him down fairly quickly. So, yeah, I really don't see much difficulty in him except for the mains.
100% agree. Yeah, he's more thematic. Again, I think he's more thematic, and he's cool. I like this guy from space shows up with his spaceships, and he's like bombarding Earth, and you have to fly up to meet him. I think that's super cool, but gameplay wise, I'm like, not a lot going on, but not every villain has to be like oppressive, No,
that's true, and I wouldn't want every villain to be oppressive. So it is fun that he's on the slightly easier side. The main difficulty, aside from the mains, is one of the side schemes has a crisis icon on it. So if you get that, you could be in trouble if you can't get rid of that. But not a whole lot going on in his kit except for spamming minions, which come in a mod set.
Yeah, that's true. You're probably going to be dealing with a few minions. So, but yeah, like you mentioned, if you're a minion slayer, hero, this is a pretty solid villain to fight against. Well, especially with that mod set, I suppose that 10 minion mod set.
Yeah, and that's a fun mod set to talk about too. If you're a minion slayer and you want to, ensure you're going to have some minions, throw that mod set into your game. Some of them suck, like the assassin you were talking about, because it's just basically going to quick strike you for 3. And the other one, the Badoon Grunt, who almost all the time is going to surge on you. But fun set to play if you're a minion slayer for sure. So, if you were going to rank Drang on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being a lot of fun, play him all the time, 1 being, screw this guy, I'm going home, what would you rank him?
So, I do think he's pretty fun. He is a little easy, but as we mentioned earlier, not every villain needs to be like crazy oppressive. I love the
Mm-hmm.
theme. I'm a big fan of space. Like, I like Star Trek. I like Star Wars. Anything with space stuff is super cool. I think I'm going to give him a just nice, solid, like, 8 out of 10. Because he is kind of simple, but I like the thematics, and I like kind of feeling strong, I guess, like when I'm going up against him. But yeah, I think it's mostly theme. But yeah, the mod sets are cool. And I like pretending like I'm defending like Earth from this alien invasion. What would you give Drang?
I feel like I don't like him that much. Maybe 6.5 or 7. I do like the theming there. Yeah, you're warding off this invasion, but I just don't think there's enough meat on those bones to make me want to come back to him over and over again. And that's kind of the way I look at villains. I can't believe I've never said that in all these episodes, but the real factor for me is it one that I'll grab from the box every time I sit down? He is not one of those. He's not awful, but I have a lot of villains who I would rather be facing than him.
Oh, I get it.
So
That's
probably 6 or 7.
100%. Yeah, that totally makes sense. I get it. I get it.
So,
So, since we've been discussing Drang, we discussed his cards, we just gave him a rating and whatnot. Do you have any like cool games with Drang? Any sort of memories, or did you use any cool strategies or anything?
I've actually already kind of talked about the one game that is memorable for me, and that's the one I just played recently in multiplayer. We just beat him so fast that we were both like, oh wow, it's over. Let's play another game while we have the time. So, yeah, nothing super memorable about him, but that was definitely a fun time that we just crushed him down. The guy I was playing with was testing some. It wasn't Star Lord. Who was it? It wasn't Gamora. Oh, he was playing Nebula in leadership. And he's like, yeah, I just want to play it against some Guardian villains.
Oh.
And that was the one we went with. And it's like, man, that is so quick. Let's play again. What about you? Do you have something memorable with Drang?
So, probably my most memorable is that he is the first villain on the channel, and I liked him like so much, and I liked Rocket, and I loved like I like Guardians of the Galaxy, but I like the Galaxy's Most Wanted box. So I was like, hey, I'm having a really good time playing Rocket against Drang. I'm going to make a video, for my channel, and I'm going to play like my favorite hero against, like, at the time was like my favorite villain. I was like, this guy's cool. I really like the theme of this, and that's the video I wanted to make. So in that regard, kind of special. I liked blowing up all the minions and stuff with Rocket and just kind of throwing them up there. So yeah, that's it. That's about it. He's just special because he's the first one.
Very cool, yeah.
Well, you got any last parting words or anything about Drang?
Just that the Badoon Grunt sucks. I think that's enough said.
That's fair. Yep. I hope people agree with us and be like, yep, Badoon Grunt, that's what I would have picked, Like, okay, cool. Maybe people...
And there are worse cards. There are worse cards than Badoon Grunt. I just hate it that I always get them when I don't have another minion.
Oh, yeah, like, yes, exactly. Which is probably more of the reason, like, you really want to take care of the minions, because if you don't, you could get a Grunt, which will give you an extra encounter card, and that could be another minion. Like, who knows? Or
No. You want to have a minion when the Grunt comes in, because if you don't have another minion, he gives you an encounter card. So I want to have some minion in play when Grunt comes in.
That's right. So now it's like, it could be almost a little worse, because you're like, now I have to babysit this guy, or else I'm going to get more encounter cards.
Yeah. And which better one to babysit than the assassin, who only does 1 and 1 and has 1 hit point?
Very true.
So that is a strategy maybe to employ. That first hit sucks because it's basically a quick strike for 3. But after that, he hardly hits for anything, and he does protect you from the Grunt.
That's a good way to look at it. That is very, very true. Well, I don't think I have any parting words either, but I think this wraps up the episode here on my channel, and I believe next week we're going to have the villain on your channel, and I'm super curious. I actually haven't checked our sheet lately. You maybe want to give me a little tease or a hint about who the next villain's going to be?
Yeah, it's similar to this villain. All I'm going to say is he comes from outer space. So we do have a lot of those in the game. So I don't think that's giving too much away.
Comes from outer space. Darth Vader?
That's him.
I knew it. Custom villain Darth Vader.
That would actually be awesome. I would love to see a custom Darth Vader. I hope someone does that.
Someone actually, if we're talking outer space real quick, just super quick, someone actually made the Xenomorph as, like, the Xenomorph queen.
Ooh, I've seen that, yeah.
I was like, dude, she's from outer space. Like, and someone also has the Predator as a hero, who is awesome. He is super cool. I love him. I've played him before. Super cool. He actually has a reoccurring, like, his signature ally isn't an ally, it's a minion. And he has a Xenomorph minion, and when you defeat it, you just shuffle it back into your deck, and you can keep pulling it out, because when you defeat it, it readies you, and it counts as a minion, so you get all the benefits of, like, slaying a minion, like Hall of Heroes, or, like, you get, like, a little trophy. Cool. It's super clever. Like, I know Web Warrior Fanatic brought this up, but, like, it would be awesome if there was, like, a card which was like a target dummy or something like that, where it's a minion, and it's something for you to do if you're playing, like, a minion slayer deck and there's no minions out. Like, what? Like,
yeah,
what are you gonna do?
I think you call them player minions. Like, we have player side schemes. Yeah,
that'd be cool. I would, I'm totally down for that. But yeah, a little bit of a tangent, but that's something from space.
One more that I want to talk about, something from space. Have you ever watched Strong Style Versus?
Yeah, of course.
The first video I watched of his was the Death Star.
Yep, I think I did too.
And that was an awesome video. That was an awesome custom villain, because, you're doing the trench run, and you've got TIE fighters and stormtroopers, and you're trying to blow up the Death Star. The Death Star is the villain. So that was a really cool game to watch. If you haven't seen that video, go check out Strong Style Versus. I'm 99% positive that Steggy will link that down below for you.
I am also 99% positive that Steggy will also link that down below. Hopefully.
If Steggy remembers.
I'll be editing this. I'll be like, oh yeah. And I'll go find it and stuff. Because I remember that too. Because there's also, like, I'm pretty sure he was playing like a Luke Skywalker hero, I think. I'm pretty sure
it may have been. I only remember the Death Star, but he may have been playing a custom hero too.
Yeah, there's So there's just so much custom stuff out there. So I know it's a bit of a tangent, but again, I was just saying that's something else from space. But really, we all know it's going to be Venom.
We all know it's going to be Venom.
It's going to be Venom. Probably. Maybe.
Probably.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. All right, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for watching, especially if you're still watching. We do ramble a little bit, and if you've made it this far, thank you. We appreciate it. And I hope everyone has a marvelous day.
Yeah, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. You stay safe out there, make good decisions, and we'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.
Not doing it. I'm not doing my bye.